Welcome to Suma at Home. This is our first virtual family day. My name's Jessica Farling and I'm the director curator here at Southern Utah Museum of Art. Normally you would be joining us here at the museum in the classroom on the second Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. But because we're currently closed to the public, we're inviting you all to join along through this video with our Learning and Experiences team on creating work inspired by the 2020 Senior BFA Exhibition.
Hello, my name is Katie Jensen. I am at the Southern Utah Museum of Art, where I work planning programs for community and families. And I'm here today with James. James, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is James Culbertson. I'm a graduating student from SU this semester.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work?
Yes, these are lino cuts. They're a form of relief printing. They're based originally from some photography work I did, some self-portraits, and this was really inspired for me by music, not any sort of specific genre or artist, just like kind of how it puts you in a different mindset when you listen to music. And that's kind of what I wanted with this. I wanted people to look at it and kind of get that same kind of feeling you get when you listen to a certain type of music.
There are a lot of birds in your work. Can you tell me a little bit about why you chose birds?
Yes. In some of the art history classes I've taken, they talk a lot about like symbolist artists, and I was really interested in like how they create their own language through their own imagery in their work. And I did a lot of research into birds, specifically like crows and ravens. There's like a lot of different symbolisms or symbolic meaning behind birds, depending on which culture and who you're asking about it. But I kind of found some stuff that I resonated with it, and I wanted to put it in there kind of as a mystery. So like if you really delve into it, you could figure out exactly what I'm trying to say without me having to explicitly come out and say it.
Well, do you have any advice for anyone creating art today?
I think just kind of go for it, you know, like you get a cool idea and it's easy to kind of just let it go and forget about it, but I think it really turns out well when you kind of just flesh it out and see how far you can take something.
All right, so now we're going to go into the classroom to make artwork inspired by James's work. Today, we're going to be making crayon rubbing. This imitates James's style in the way that he would do a print. So I'm just going to get started so you guys can see how you would do this. I'm going to start with white paper, which is at the bottom, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to experiment first with this first one here. I don't know if you guys can see it very well there, but it has a little bit of texture. I did this with glue, and the reason, the way you would create this is you would just get glue and then just spread it out onto a piece of cardboard. And so that it would make a cool design. You can see it a little bit clearer on this one because the glue hasn't dried all the way. So I'm just gonna put the paper here, and I'm going to grab a crayon. You can do it with a crayon that does have the paper on it, but it doesn't work as well. So to get the best results for this, you'll want to use the crayon that has the paper removed, like this. And I'm just going to hold the crayon sideways and then just move the crayon over it, like this. So this here is called crayon rubbing, and you guys may have done this in elementary school or preschool. But if I lift this up, you guys can see the texture that I get. So it's pretty fun. You can try it with different textures. This actually showed much better than I expected. You can even see that you can see the texture of the cardboard behind it. So you guys can experiment to see what different textures you'll get with different things.
You get to decide what kind of scene you would like to draw. We decided to use a beach scene. So here we are making waves out of Elmer's glue. You can take the glue and make any design you want on the cardboard, and it will give you that texture for your crayon rubbing. Make sure it dries all the way and take the crayon and rub it along, and that will give you your texture on the piece of paper. Another thing that we decided to grab texture out of was just a piece of fabric. So we wanted to use this fabric to make the sun for our beach. So we cut it into a circle, and then when you do the crayon rubbing on top of it, it gave a fun kind of texture for the sun, something different than the cardboard. Another thing that we found that would work great for texture is one of our chairs that has a nice kind of whole pattern design. We want you guys to make sure you're checking everywhere in your house for things that could make fun textures. Things like chairs, things like the edges of plates that have fun kind of ribbed design. These patterns can be anywhere in your house. You can also go outside to try to find fun leaves and other textures that you can find outside and bring into your house, and do fun crown rubbings and textures with those. After we've created all of our textures, we're going to combine as many of them as we can into one scene, and we decided to make a beach scene. We started with the waves, which was what we made out of cardboard with Elmer's glue. We then moved on to the chair for the sand that creates the island off to the side of the waves. You can think of what kind of scene and pictures you can make out of the textures that you have around your house. It could be a garden or a mountain scene, anything that works with what you have. We then used a fabric circle to give the sun a fun texture, and we found that darker colors tend to work better because you can see them easier. We then used the edge of a plate rib with the ribbed design to make the boat. We moved the plate up to make a layered look for the boat. So as you fill it in, you can move your textures around a little bit to see what kind of shapes you can make out of them. So this is our boat. We then used a piece of cardboard with just a regular ribbed back to make this sail that will go on top of the boat. Once you're done with your textures, you can go through and add outlines to your shapes to put the finishing touches on the scene. So here we outlined the boat and the sail and the water and the island to make it look more like a complete picture. After we looked at it for a while, we decided that the sun looked like it was setting in the background, so we wanted to add another hill with our sand texture to make it look more like the sun was setting behind the hill. You can totally go through and do the same thing, add more details as you draw your picture and see what you can add to make it look a little bit better, look a little bit clearer. And we had our final beach scene that we made using 5 different textures.
Thank you for joining us for our first virtual family day. We hope that you will share your creations with us on Instagram by tagging @Summa_museum and using the hashtag SummaAtHome.